Ethan and Hila Klein are some of the smartest entrepreneurs on the internet, but not for the reason you might think. H3H3 went from being a broke couple with only $20 in their bank account to creating one of the biggest brands on the internet and having a net worth of $20 million. So I want to answer the question, how did they build this multi-million-dollar digital empire? It's the year 2007, and a young Ethan Klein is traveling across the world from the United States all the way to Israel. While on this trip, Ethan and Hila ended up meeting at the Holocaust Museum.
And I think we were teamed up from that first minute. We were like teamed up, boy.
After this trip, Ethan returned to the US, and after months of communicating through Skype, Hila moved to the United States to be with Ethan. However, there was a problem.
It was the worst day on Wall Street since the crash of 1987.
This could be the most serious recession in decades. And that means life, as most Americans know it, is about to change, in some cases dramatically.
Ethan and Hila had financially hit rock bottom, and they couldn't find a job anywhere.
We had like literally $20 in our bank account left. There was nothing. We went grocery shopping that same day. It was a beautiful red bell pepper. I take the bell pepper, I weigh it, looking at the scale, I'm like, this puts us over. We can't buy this bell pepper.
Yeah.
We're like, we can't, like, all right, our life's, we can't, we're putting back bell peppers. We were handling it with like humor, but I think we both felt like,
This is the end.
this isn't good. This isn't good.
However, Ethan and Hila eventually found jobs, but Hila's visa expired soon after, so the couple packed up their things to move to Israel. Ethan got a job in marketing and content management for a gambling company, and Hila began going to art school.
The mandatory classes on the first year was video art. They just gave us an assignment to make something, and I didn't want to be in it because I was so shy. So I brought a camera home and I was like, you want to do something?
The first video created by the two was titled Chocolate, and on April 30th, 2011, with the creation of this video, the pair created their YouTube channel. They decided to name the channel H3H3, which is just a combination of their initials. After this school project, the two continued to make and upload videos to their YouTube channel for fun. By May 2013, 2 years after creating their channel, H3H3 had achieved only 276 subscribers. Many people would just give up at this point, but they were making videos for pure enjoyment.
There was nothing at stake. There was no delusions of grandeur. There was no expectation at all. I mean, our early videos are so off the wall, dude, like unwatchable. So I'm not surprised at all that nobody watched them for that long. There was quite frankly no reason to watch them.
However, in May 2013, H3H3 would upload a video that would give the channel its first piece of success. Warm It Up EXE, that's a 10. It was just a meme video that made fun of a serious video with silly edits and sound design. This video was only 27 seconds long, but I'll break down the genius of that later in the video. In December of 2013, this video had reached over 248,000 views. This took the H3H3 sub count from 275 to 1,715. After seeing the success from this video, H3H3 turned this into a series and began uploading more videos with a similar style. However, in 2014, they would upload a video that would change the course of their career and start a series that would eventually launch them into internet stardom.
Guys, we got a special video on board here today.
This video was titled How to Kiss, H3H3 reaction video. In this video, Ethan reacted and made fun of a video he found on the internet teaching people how to kiss.
I was like, this video is so stupid. I didn't know what was gonna come out, but I was like, Hila, just grab the camera. I'm gonna vent about this and put it on our channel, and I just don't care what people think. And you know, to our surprise, people really liked it.
Reaction videos are an incredibly popular and saturated format on YouTube now. But in 2014, it was a completely new genre that had never been done before.
You know, in the beginning when we were making reaction videos, I don't know if we were the only ones doing it, but it seemed like at the time.
Yeah.
And it was like open range, it was open fields.
The success from this video caused H3H3 to do more and more reaction content. And since it was the early days of YouTube, there was a lot of bad and cringy content to react to. The reaction series caused H3H3 to go from 5,000 subscribers in May of 2014 to 50,000 just 5 months later. But this was just the beginning.
I had like a job that was going really well, and I'd worked there for a year. I think I was probably making like $1,000 a month from YouTube at the time. It was not a lot, but it was like, hey, that's a little fucking money. So I quit. I just said, fuck it, I'm gonna quit my job and I'm gonna commit myself to doing this.
In May 2015, Ethan and Hila packed up their things to move back to California. But after being in Cali for just a few months, the couple moved to New York so that Hila could get a stable income working as a producer for the YouTuber JonTron. However, shortly after moving to New York, H3H3's videos like feeding the homeless, how to clean your gamer gear, and of course, Vape Nation took off, and the channel started experiencing massive growth. In October 2015, their sub count was at 300,000. Just 5 months later, they hit 1 million. And then shortly after that, they hit 2 million. They were experiencing insane growth and bringing in hundreds of thousands of dollars. However, after 2.5 years of making reaction videos, they ran into a problem.
The channel wasn't growing at that time. It was at a complete deadlock. It was dying. We felt like H3 was dying. It was stale. People weren't happy. It wasn't growing. And it was like, we saw it. It just wasn't going anywhere. It was a dead end for us.
And around the same time, something happened that completely changed the YouTube platform, the adpocalypse. In August 2016, YouTube dramatically shifted their focus to family-friendly content, affecting many channels with adult audiences, including H3H3.
We were making like 100% of our income was from YouTube revenue. And so all of a sudden the adpocalypse comes about, and I would say 90% of our income disappeared in, one day. Let's say we're making like $100,000 a month, and then all of a sudden we're making 10,000, which is a lot of money, but like you have employees, you have a house that you're renting with the assumption that you're making $100,000 a month, and $10,000 a month isn't enough to pay the fucking bills that you have.
Out of nowhere, H3H3 was only generating a small percentage of the revenue that they were used to seeing. But in 2017, Ethan and Hila made a genius move. They started the H3 podcast.
Welcome everybody to the first episode of the H3H3 podcast.
And this was a time when most people didn't have a podcast. The only person that was really doing them was Joe Rogan. They were once again ahead of the curve. But I'll break down the true genius of this move in just a second. H3H3 received some backlash because they began prioritizing the podcast over their main channel, but they did it for good reasons.
Ultimately, the creative process became really toxic for us, and we just didn't enjoy the process anymore. So the podcast was more fresh and exciting and fun, and yes, more lucrative too, which is all the more reason to continue to invest ourselves in it.
Along with starting the podcast, Ethan and Hila made another genius move. In 2017, Hila founded her own clothing company, Teddy Fresh. And this is more than just H3H3 merch. This is a full-fledged fashion line and streetwear brand. The H3H3 production channel now has over 6 million subscribers. And even though they don't really upload to it anymore, they still have a catalog of videos on the channel that get views and generate revenue. The H3 podcast channel now has over 3 million subscribers, and they upload multiple times a week with different shows that on average get 1 million views at least. And that's just through YouTube. They still have the audio-only version on other platforms. But I want to show you why they've achieved such a massive following and the real reason they're multi-millionaires. A common strategy that we see creators use to grow an audience is going from short-form content to long-form. A lot of the biggest creators on YouTube use this strategy. Short-form content is so much easier to consume and create. Therefore, it's much easier to grow a following through it. But one of the big downsides to short-form content is that it's usually not nearly as profitable. So that's why we see a lot of creators transition from short-form to longer-form content. But H3H3 took this to the next level. In the beginning, they used the EXE series as a vehicle to grow an audience, and then introduced that audience to longer form content, the reaction series. Then they used the reaction series to grow, and then introduced that audience to even longer form content, the podcast, aka the talk show. And the podcast/talk show is the ultimate content creation format. Here's why. Seeing how the podcast is super long form content, it allowed them to create an incredibly loyal and hyper engaged audience. If you sit through an entire podcast episode, you're gonna get to know that person a lot better as opposed to just watching a short 30-second TikTok. Plus, they were able to create a separate channel of podcast highlights that generates ridiculous amounts of revenue for pretty much no extra work. But one of the biggest pros to this model is that podcasts are perfect for collaborations. As a creator, collaborations are one of the most effective methods for growing because you're able to tap into a new audience. And the podcast model takes full advantage of this. But plenty of creators have gone from short form to long form content, and they're not multimillionaires. So what did H3H3 do differently? Ethan said when the adpocalypse hit that they lost 90% of their income, and they definitely learned from this. Here's what Ethan says the revenue streams look like now.
So there's, I guess, 3 branches of earning. There's like the ads you get from the podcast, and then there's the AdSense. The ads can come and go, the AdSense can come and go, but they're not related to each other.
Ethan said that 25% of their income is from YouTube AdSense and 25% is from ads and sponsors. But I was shocked to learn that by far the biggest source of income that Ethan and Hila have is from Teddy Fresh. There's a lot of YouTubers that have started selling merch as a way to generate more revenue, but only a few have launched separate businesses that actually live on their own. According to Infact.com, the estimated annual revenue of Teddy Fresh is $10 million to $100 million. Now, all of this is just revenue, not profit. They're not getting all of this. For all of these different sources of revenue, they still have expenses that they have to pay.
Now Teddy Fresh, we have over 20 employees. We have a building. We do everything ourselves. We have a design department, a production department. I mean, it's a full-fledged fashion company at this point.
H3H3 did an incredible job of building an engaged audience and then diversifying their revenue streams. But it's obvious that it's not just about the money for Ethan and Hila. The reason they've been able to achieve the level of success that they have is because they actually care about creating good content and products. Since the beginning, they've focused on building a community as opposed to just making money. And for that reason, H3H3 has built an empire that will be here for years to come. If you enjoyed this video, then you'll really enjoy my video on Cody Co, so go check that one out next, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace.